All right, everyone. My name is Virginia, and I'm here to teach you about EFT tapping. Now, hold on. Sorry, I thought that was a spider. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique. It was basically made, I can't remember the guy's name, but in the early 90s, this guy was like, what if I put acupuncture with, I can't say this word, kinesiology. Okay, kinesiology. Let's just see how it goes. And it ended up just really helping so many things because you're using the meridian points with pressure. Now, obviously not as much as a tiny needle, but with pressure. And as with acupuncture, that helps remove things and toxins from the bodies and everything like that. So the biggest thing that I heard about this when I first started was they started to use it on veterans with PTSD. And most of these people that did the EFT, their symptoms went down by 60% within the first ever time doing it. And repeat people kept doing it, and it would go down more and more. And I remember my story a little bit was I was bipolar 1 for a very, very long, about 22 years. And in the Rona, having to go through an episode that was like 3 months long, and I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta change this. I can't live like this anymore. Oh my good God. And I remember just deciding and being like, okay, I'm just gonna figure it out. So I started just kind of not worrying about it a little bit more, chill, and nothing really came up. And I just kept kind of being like, okay, I'm a photographer, so I started doing like photo shoots with close friends because we could be outside. And so there was the social distancing, so we could be outside. So I started being creative, trying to do this stuff. And then one night in the end of November, I was scrolling through Instagram at night before bed, and this sparkly girl just popped up on my thing, and I was like, oh my God, I have to look at it, because as you can see, I love to be bright. And I was like, I gotta figure out who this is. Went to her profile. Her name was Gala Darling. And I started going through her profile, and I was there for like 45 minutes. I was there for a long time. I went deep. And in there, in her positivity and stuff, she started talking about EFT tapping. And I read a little bit about what it was, and I was like, oh, this is interesting. Kind of like, tingled my brain a little bit. This is interesting, but I think I waited like 3 or 4 days after that, and I was like, okay, I'm going to try this. So she had like an intro video, went and sat, listened to the intro video, and did the tapping. And then I did a YouTube video that I meant to do for 3 months. I cleaned my entire house, all this stuff, and then I took a very long nap. And ever since that day, I used tapping, EFT tapping. Some people think tapping is like, oh, they're doing like tapping the dancing, and it's not. And I've cleared out so much. I cleared out, and the biggest one being my bipolar 1, that I thought was going to be me for the rest of my life. I'm like, when you, nowadays, or even back in the day or whatever, when you become a mental illness, a lot of people tell you this is what you have, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're just gonna get worse as you get older. And it's not gonna get better, doesn't matter what you do. And I believed that. I was like, you know what? I can't do this, I can't do that, I can't go here, I can't go there, whatever. And when I started out, I didn't really start out with my bipolar. I started out with my back pain. And I always had back pain, no matter, probably from being in editing for hours as a photographer. But I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try it on that. Did that. Back pain went away, and I was like, okay. And I started tapping on other things. And at first it was very, very small things, a little bit of something that would happen here or something that would happen there. And as I kept going, I was like, I would see results, and I was like, okay, maybe I'll go to bigger and stuff. My belief is that trauma lives in the body. It is, and that is why when you work out, you feel so much better because you've moved your body. Sam right here is she teaches flow and she does that stuff, and it changes your whole life. Even moving, even walking, or just standing and shaking your hands. So the thing about EFT is it's basically moving energy through your body, through the meridian points that you use. I will explain what those are. And that's why being hydrated is very, very good, because while you tap, you're moving the energy through your body. Just like when they say if you're getting Reiki, or if you're getting a massage, or you're getting, acupuncture, drink the water because your body needs it. With EFT, the basic bare bones of it is you're tapping on meridian points with your fingertips. You can use 1, 2, your whole hand, whatever you want. And while basically saying, some people say affirmations, some people will say what is going on specifically, like I do. And when you hit these meridian points, it starts to move the energy. Now, let's see here. It's like, hold on, I'm having a whole brain fart right now. I'm so hot. So I guess the easiest way is to show you the points first. Now, when you are tapping on these points, you do not have to hit yourself really hard. It's really like, basically, if you're tapping someone on a shoulder at a show, so you're not aggressively hitting them, you're just, tapping them. And that's pretty much how you will tap on the points. So there's a couple different ways to do them. I do it both handed. Now, I liked it because I like two things together. I liked syncing up the body. I think it's really cool. The girl, Gala, who I learned it from, that's how she does it. And it just seems to work the best for me. The other way is to use one hand, and that works too. And then also, if there's a point on your body that you can't reach due to immobility or anything like that, or let's say your head hurts often and this hurts really bad to touch that, you don't have to. You don't have to touch it. You don't have to do anything that hurts you or whatever, because it really doesn't matter. It's just doing the points that you can. So I'll explain first kind of what the points are. So the most bare bone point is the side of the hand. It's this fleshy part, like right here, and that's what you'll hit. You can use 2 fingers, you can use your whole hand, you can use 1 finger, whatever is most comfortable for you. So that is the first point, and this is called the setup point. So when you set something up, let's say, something that somebody in here you deal with on the daily, what's something that you deal with? Could be anything. My child. What about you? What do you deal with on the daily? People, okay. And that gives you a lot of anxiety. I'm guessing. I'm guessing there's a lot of anxiety in this room.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. So when you set up something like that, that's when you start you talk about the problem. So when you're hitting here, you talk about the problem. So for you, for instance, it's like, my toddler makes my patients very thin. I feel like this. And so that's when you will talk about it. It sets it up with that. And so in this one, you can pretty much say whatever you want. You can be yelling into the world if you want. And that's how you set it up. And then after you set it up, you do the other points. So the first point is right here on the top of your head. This is the way that I do it. I do it this way. There's another way where they start with the eyebrow first and they end with the head. So there's certain videos out there that do that. There's certain stuff. This is just the way that I do it since I'm teaching the class. So the first point is right here in your forehead, your top of your head, and you just 1, 2, whole hands, whatever's most comfortable. The second point is right here in the eyebrow, just above your eyebrow. You just gently hit right there. The third point is right here on the side of the eye. This one you probably can be a little bit more gentle because it's a more gentle area. Under the eye, right here. Under the nose. And you can do it this way or this way. I have a piercing, so it's very hard for me to do it like that. People with nails, it's hard. Under the mouth, right here. You do either way. And then collarbone, which is about right here. It's about 3 inches under your actual collarbone. So this is the point right here. And can you also, if you want to do it one-handed, you can do right here. That's another spot. And then under the armpit, so it's kind of like 2 inches under your armpit. So you're not in your armpit, you're just kind of like right below it. And then the 2 wrists together. Now, most people do not use the 2 wrists together. I learned that through Gala Darling. She does it, I can't remember why, but I think it just kind of brings it together as a point, because it's another meridian point. So when you do these things, it's very easy to do, and the best part is you can even be in your car. Use one hand in your car, please. Don't use both while you're driving. When you're hitting these points and you're saying the things that you're saying, your body is moving through the meridians, and it's actually, moving the energy for that. So I think my most favorite thing about EFT is that you do not have to believe what you're saying. You do not have to believe any of the statements or any of that, because your subconscious hears what you're saying. And that is where the healing happens, is your subconscious. And a lot of people, we live in our heads. We live in our heads. We're constantly in our heads thinking this and that, and when we need to just relax sometimes and be in our bodies. And when it comes to EFT, it is, like I said, it's something that you can do anywhere. You can do it by yourself. You can go to somebody who's, a therapist, and you can go do it through them. Some of them are doing them now. But the beauty of it is that you can do it on your own. That you can say whatever you want to say. And the thing about that is there's a statement that you say with this. That's very important. There's a couple different ways to say it. The way that I do it is you say whatever you're saying, but you say, it could be even though I feel this way, even though this is happening, even though I'm whatever, I say I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. The second one is I choose to deeply and completely love and accept myself. Or even though I feel this way, even though I have this happening to me, I choose to love, accept, and honor myself. Now, some people are not comfortable with saying forgive. That one is hard. I started out with that one, and I was like, what? I don't love myself. I don't deeply, completely, you know what I mean? And, you'll have that. You'll have that in there where you're like, I don't believe what I'm saying, but your body knows and your intuition knows, and it moves it straight out of the body. And I went to therapy my entire life. I went to group therapy, I had medications, all of it. And no matter what I did, my bipolar was still there. No matter what I did. Until I found this. Till I found this one. And I think it was about last year in about March, I went and did a Renaissance fair where I basically slept in a tent, which I don't do. Some people do. I know some people here love sleeping in tents and stuff like that. But for me, that was a big deal. I don't do that. That's going to make my bipolar come up, and then I can't live. So I went and did this whole thing, and my bipolar didn't come out one time during this thing. And I was like, you know what? Maybe I was just like motivated. It was really cold. It was like 50-mile-an-hour winds. It was like 48 degrees. We're all trying to hold there was a, what do you call it? We had like a wall so people couldn't see our tents. People had to hold it up for 2 hours because the wind, I mean, it was crazy. And I was just like, I was like, you know what? I'm probably going to go home, and that's when it's going to happen. I'm going to crash. And went home, and it didn't happen. And I don't even remember if I really tapped specifically on my bipolar. I think I did sometimes. I did where I was like, this is not who I am, because it became my identity. And I think we all have that. I think everybody has some kind of identity that they have as, because of this is who I am. Because I have social anxiety, I will never be able to go and do this. Or because I have bipolar, I will never be able to do this. Or these are just things that I can't do, And my bipolar and my that mental thing just became my entire identity. And, I think for Rona, sitting there with myself and just being like, what? I don't want this. The universe dropped EFT tapping into my lap. So what I want to know is why are you here? Why are you here at this class? And besides being like my best friend, why are you come to this class?
To support and learn more about tapping. I've only dabbled a little bit here and there. So.
Yeah. What about you?
To learn more about myself and support you.
Okay. You're here because this is your place?
Better mental health.
Better mental health. Yeah. What about you? See, you know what? That doesn't matter because you're here and it's going to go right into the brain. And you say, why are you here?
For myself, the right minds.
Perfect.
It's good information to know, but understanding the universal energy.
Yes. Awesome. Y'all making me super happy right now. That's really awesome. Yeah. And because you said you were a therapist, and so you want to be able to, yes. That's a little backstory about what it is and what it does. And I will be doing like an example. And you guys do not have to tap with me if you do not feel comfortable. You can tap and not talk out loud if you don't want to. All of it this is all voluntary. You're here. Well, let's have some water. He just had some water, reminded me to have some water. Yeah. And I just want to say it again, the most beautiful thing is you don't have to believe a word coming out of your mouth at all. And I remember when I was first starting and I was doing this stuff, and I remember tapping and being like, I don't believe a word I'm saying right now. And I think what really kind of clicked in my brain was like, I don't have to. So I didn't feel forced to do it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't feel like I had to believe this for it to work. I didn't have to, which is easier, is to not believe. We're conditioned as human beings to not believe in ourselves.
We're naturally rebellious.
You're naturally rebellious. We're preconditioned to see the negative. And in a world that is full of mental illness that is caused by trauma, and a lot of this trauma comes from our childhood, when we were not even able to even say anything, and we carry all this stuff with us, and it turns into social anxiety, it turns into depression, it turns into, some of us, our experiences trigger major mental illnesses like schizophrenia, bipolar, and whatever. For me, mine was triggered by my adoptive mother. I always explain to people like this. There's two twins, and they're both pre-positioned for schizophrenia. Both of them. This one was raised in this environment. This one was raised in this environment. This one manifests it. This one doesn't. And there's, in my birth family, I know my whole birth family, but only one person in my birth family has bipolar like I did. And she went through a lot of the same things I did, bully-wise and stuff, but the rest of them don't. They have mental stuff here and there, but they didn't have the severity of the thing that I had. And a lot of us just don't realize that even small T's, which I call them small traumas, will cause things to happen. And, you know, we keep those in our bodies. And we keep them in our bodies and in our person. And I was talking to her before the class started. She's a therapist, and I was like, therapy is freaking amazing. It is amazing. Like, you go there and you can talk to somebody who has no idea who you are. You can just do it, you know, and they're not going to go tell your friends or your mom or whoever you're talking about or whatever. And I have a friend that I'm talking to too. She's like, I've been going to therapy, and it's like I've been talking about it. I know what's going on, but now what? I know that I'm completely nuts. I know that I have all this stuff. And it's like, but do I still go to therapy? Do I still talk about it? And what I've seen in my experience with it is therapy is beautiful. You can get it done, but it's like you get to a point, usually people get to a point in therapy where they know what's going on and they want to move forward with that, but they have the skills that they're using or the concepts that they're using is only doing so much, is only getting the surface of what is going on. Through EFT, emotional freedom technique, that clears out everything that you learn. You are able to clear out everything you learn, and that is how I was able to clear out bipolar 1. I was like the person that was in the books. Like, I ended up in LA. I didn't know how I got there. I wrote over $8,000 in bad checks in 3 days. Ended up in jail. Like, I was a poster bipolar person. Like, it was terrible. And I thought it was a sentence, and it's not. And so what EFT can do for you, whether you have major mental illness or you have social anxiety or you have the worst back pain ever or you have any of this stuff, it allows you to take these things and remove them from your life, so you do not have to deal with them again. And that, I think, why it works so well with a lot of mental illness, specifically PTSD, because PTSD is trauma. It's a bare bones trauma that happened to you that you can control. And so you couldn't control it, and it's inside of you. It's not yours to keep. Just like your mother yelling at you when you were 5. Just like that boyfriend or girlfriend when you were 19 who cheated on you and left you. We hold all these things in our bodies and in our minds that people have done to us or stuff, and we carry them. And that's why a lot of times in therapy we realize, oh, my mother did this to me. I realized this, you know. And you're like, oh, shit, yes, I realized it. What do I? You tap it out. You literally tap it out of your body and of your mind. And I recently did one. He had made a comment on one of my things about things he couldn't control. He was like, this thing helps me, but it doesn't help me. And I was like, I need to do one on things that we can't control. And I got a lot of stuff on that one. And I think it's, you know, and it was a very short tapping, but when it comes to, you know, things we can't control, we basically have to learn to let go. And we can tell ourselves in our mind all the time, oh, let go. And the mind's like, got it. That's great. And you turn around and walk away, and it's like, I have forgotten everything you've just said to me. And so with EFT, you go beyond the mind. You go beyond the barriers of the human mind and the human that we have, and you're able to tap into your subconscious, and that is where everything lies. And that's why sometimes when you're in a situation and your body starts acting weird, you're like, I'm totally fine. Why is my body freaking out? And that's because there's something that has happened. And so there's things in our brains that we don't even know have happened. And the beauty of the EFT tapping with that too is sometimes when you're tapping on something else, it triggers something else in the brain and will heal that at the same time that you don't even know is going on. So I think the biggest thing is that this tool is just something that you could use at any time. And let's see. So does anyone have any questions so far about that? Am I like talking okay? Like, do I make sense? Okay, sometimes I feel like I make no sense at all. Oh, thank God. Okay, so, all right. So what is like, as the collective, what is like one thing everyone really deals with a lot? Is anxiety something that everyone is just really kind of, I know you're a little more woke, but I feel like you have it too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I have anxiety, but I struggle with boredom a lot.
Yeah, boredom a lot too. Okay, yeah. So you feel understimulated in your life and stuff like that. And I think, anxiety is I think it's like a thing now where I had horrible anxiety on the way here. Like, I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna teach a class. I don't even know these people. I know some people. I was like, I don't know how it's gonna go. And on my way here, I just was tapping. I usually, this is one thing I tell everybody is a really cool thing. So let's say you're having an anxiety attack or you're having a tough time. Your best bet is to tap right here. It's like right under the collarbone right here. And you can do it. You can say nothing, or you can be like, I am safe. I am safe in my body. It is okay to relax. And you basically can say whatever you want. So this one is I think is the quickest to bring things when you are on stuff. So I'm driving over here and I'm tapping on my head and stuff. And I'm just telling myself, I was like, I am worthy of this class. I am not an imposter. I am able to teach these people this thing. You are, and by the time I got here, I was like, okay, I can do this, which is like 10 minutes because I live by Backweird. So I'm like 5 seconds away from her. So that's just a pure example of something that you can do and you can tap at any time. So I think what I want to do is like a example tapping for you guys, and kind of show you what it is. I'm going to basically, I think what I'm basically going to do is, you can throw a little anxiety in there. I can throw a little other things in there. But basically all you do is repeat after me. And you don't have to do it. Like I said, this is just a class. You don't have to do it. I suggest doing it because you did come to the class to learn about this nifty technique. But just remember that you don't have to believe a word that you're saying out of your mouth. You just say it. And I do individual clients. I do individual videos. You can tell me exactly. I can do things where I can say the exact words that you want me to say, and then you can repeat after me. So I am more than willing to help anyone here with anything that they need to help to, be more specific for yourself. So what we do is we start on the side of the hand, and this is kind of like the setup. So what I'm going to say in this one, it's not necessarily negative, but it's things that are real to us and stuff like that. And then as we start to go through the points, that's when we're releasing those things, if that makes sense. So it's kind of like you acknowledge the problem and then you release it. Does that make sense enough?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. It is so hot in here. Okay. right. All right, we're all gonna start at the side of the hand, and that's that little fleshy part right here. Sometimes I feel, and you just repeat right after me.
Sometimes I feel.
Sorry, that's fine. And if I'm going too fast, tell me. But usually I wait for you guys to stop. It's harder when I'm doing it when somebody's not talking. I'm like, okay. Sometimes I feel
Sometimes I feel.
like this world is too overwhelming.
This world is too overwhelming.
That I'm supposed to be somewhere else,
I'm supposed to be somewhere else.
doing something else,
Doing something else.
and that's really annoying.
And that's really annoying.
I just want to live a cool life,
I just want to live a cool life.
free of anxiety,
Free of anxiety.
free of boredom,
Free of boredom.
free of free of
Toxic
toxic
people.
Yeah,
people.
toxic
Here we
people.
go. Free of toxic people. Bringing it, yeah.
On the way.
Yeah, on the wavelength here. Free of toxic people.
Toxic people.
Free of the restraints that aren't even mine.
Free of the restraints that aren't even mine.
And even though I feel this way,
Even though I feel this way,
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept and forgive myself.
love and accept and forgive myself.
All right. So that's basically a setup. So when you're talking about that, you can say how frustrated you are, how much you don't like something, how much you wish it could be something else. The point is, you still love and accept yourself anyway. So I'm probably going to say that too, through it too. So now we're just going to start at the top of the head. You can use one hand, you can use two hands, you can skip ones, you don't have to repeat after me, all that stuff. So the frustration is real.
Frustration is real.
I want to live this amazing life,
I want to live this amazing life.
but it seems like there's so many things in the way.
But it seems like there's so many things in the way.
And most of these things
Most of these things
don't even have anything to do with me.
don't even have anything to do with me.
Has to do with my past,
Has to do with my past.
has to do with other people,
Has to do with other people.
and I can only control myself,
And I can only control myself.
but I still have to deal with this stuff.
But I still have to deal with this stuff.
So even though I feel this way,
So even though I feel this way,
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
I choose to love and accept myself anyway.
I choose to let go of
I choose to let go of
those people who aren't even relevant.
those people who aren't even relevant.
I choose to let go
I choose to let go
of all this anxiety inside of me
of all this anxiety inside of me
that has nothing to do with me.
that has nothing to do with me.
I am choosing to let it all go,
I'm choosing to let it all go.
because at the end of the day,
Because at the end of the day,
I can only control myself.
I can only control myself.
And I am choosing to love myself,
I'm choosing to love myself.
and I'm choosing to let go.
I'm choosing to let go.
I deeply and completely
I deeply and completely
love and accept and forgive myself,
love and accept and forgive myself.
even if it's only a little bit.
Even if it's only a little bit,
I am choosing to let go,
I'm choosing to let go.
and so it is.
So it is.
that's very bare bones of it. You can get as creative as you want. You can say whatever you want. The main goal in there is to stay, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. Or even though I feel this way, you can add that onto that one too. Be like, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. You can say any of it. You can be like say, I choose to let go. I choose to love and honor myself anyway. And that is the thing about it, is because we spend our entire lives fighting who we are. We fight our intuition. We fight everything that we think that we could do, and we push it down, and we end up not loving ourselves, not accepting ourselves. And if we can't accept ourselves, how can we accept anyone else to accept us? Like, at all. Like, we have to love ourselves. And the beauty of this is that you can say it and not believe it, and then your subconscious hears it, and eventually it becomes your stuff. I still deal with stuff on the daily. I am not like super, whatever, but I cured bipolar 1 out of my body. 22 years I lived like that. And there's things that's happened to me in the last couple months where I should be in the hospital. I should be in the hospital, locked up, and it didn't even surface. And that right there can give anyone hope with any type of trauma, because my stuff came from trauma. You're removing these things from your body, and when you do it a lot and do it on the daily, you can even do it where you just do one specific thing, or you just sit there for an hour and you just go. Now, you're gonna feel tired. If you're yawning, that's totally fine. Yawning, burping, sneezing, shaking, your hands get cold, hot, whatever. You're moving energy in your body. So don't think for any reason that you're freaking out or something's wrong. It's just part of the body moving. I yawn so much. Sometimes when it's something like really big too, I yawn so much that sometimes I can't even talk. I'm just yawning.
Yawn, cry.
Yeah, and then yawn, cry, and then the eyes are like tearing up or whatever. But that's good. That's good. That's what does it. And I just really encourage this as something of people. We're coming into a time the world is really waking up. It's waking up, and there's so many things going on now with mental health. With Art, even Art starting this, he wants it to be a place where people can come and feel like they belong in there. Because sometimes going to mental health is overwhelming. It's clinical. It's here's the medication. And I believe in medication. I believe there's a time and place for medication, that it can work and stuff like that. But I don't believe it should be the thing that should be pushed. And I did take my meds for a very, very long time, and they kept me from where I would have been, or whatever. Some people use psychedelics. Some people use weed. Some people like to do breath work. Some people like to do stuff. The most important part about it is if you're being mindful with what you're doing. Mindful with what you're doing. And I feel like we all made it through a pandemic, and we're kind of back to living life, and we can't go back to where we were. We can't go back to how asleep we were before that happened. And I think that through EFT tapping is something that is such a simple tool that could help so many people just get rid of. Even in the beginning, like I started with stuff, I got rid of things that I didn't even know was in there. And I started being more awake and being less heavy, if that makes sense. And now, and I used to be a big people pleaser too, like a huge people pleaser. And I've really nipped that in the bud too. And because my light is bright, like I am a bright bitch. It is accosting, and I get it, and I love it. Get some shades, I whatever. But like now, through this and through the healing, I am light enough, and I can be bright, and I can show people what I can do. And I think we all hold ourselves back for fear of being judged or being stuff, and you can even clear that out through tapping. You literally can clear anything out. Anything. Gala Darling, she got rid of her eating disorder overnight, and she also got rid of asthma that she had since she was 13 years old, or 12. I can't remember what age. She was young. She had it every day. She was like, she started on like archaic YouTube in 2006, and she was like, her boyfriend at the time was like doing it, and he was like, you know, if you don't start, you know, doing this stuff, I'm leaving you. And so she was like, but I love you. I'll try. So I'll try it. She was like, I'm gonna try it on my asthma. So she had to walk up. She was from Australia, so she had to walk up this thing to go to the bus stop, and it was up a hill every day, with her asthma, like dying, right? And she's like, well, you know what? I'm just gonna try it on that, because the easiest thing to cure through tapping is basically pain. It's because it's such a surface thing. Pain is not surface stuff. So back pain and stuff like that. When you get things where you get cancer or you get other things, those are trauma, and you know, it can help with that too. So she decided, she tapped on it, and the next day she walked all the way to that bus, never had to use her inhaler again. She'll be 40 this year. So it was like, she was like, okay, well, let me see if I can try it on my biggest thing. Did it on that, cured that out. You know, so it's like, I think people dismiss it because it seems like it's so small and so easy, and so like, oh, why do I have to touch my face? That's weird. This is weird. I feel weird touching my face or whatever. And I think it's just because it's not a big deal. But the thing is, it really is. It's such a small thing that you can do daily or whenever, and it will just clear out whatever you need it to clear out. And I can help with that. Like, if you need guidance, I've been doing this for like 3 straight years. Somebody asked me if I was accredited, and I'm not yet. I would like to be accredited through the Gala Darling method. That is the method that I use. That's how I learned. And about a year ago or two, was it a year ago? I think it was last year. She launched her own tapping certification program. It is not in my budget at the time, but it is my goal. I would rather not get certified by something that I don't really, something I would use. But when it comes to tapping, you technically really don't need to be certified to do it or teach it. It is a bare bones thing. Some people like to be taught by somebody who's certified, and that's totally fine with me too. Like, you know, but I do reiterate that I have deep dived into this. And it's the one thing that, and I did all the other things, and is the one thing that really helped me live the life that I am living now, which is a complete 180 of my old life. Like, I cannot express to you how much of a 180 of my old life. So, you know, it cleared blocks, it cleared things out of the way. I left a very not good relationship from 10 years. I was able to get the courage inside of myself to go and do that. And now I'm living, you know what I mean? Like, it really does. So, you know, this is a very bare bones class about it. I'm going to start to we're going to do theme classes here where you'll come and it'll be on like anxiety. So the whole class, we're just going to talk about anxiety. We're going to tap on anxiety. We're going to, you know, we're going to focus on that. But this is just the bare bones of what it is. And I don't know a lot of the science about it, but there's this lady named Peta Stabling, and she has been doing research, and like literally everything you want to know about it, she's done a study or she's done the stuff. Super awesome. The tapping solution is another big tapping thing around here. They have an app, they have a bunch of YouTube stuff, they got all this stuff, and they're the ones that use the one. So, and then my favorite guy, his name is Brad Yates, and we call him Tap Daddy because he's like this middle-aged white man, and he's like in his office, and he has over 1,000 videos on his YouTube. And you need to tap it out. He has it. And he's just this chill guy, and he's just sitting there tapping, and you just follow him. And most of his videos are anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. And it's on everything. And so I really like to use Gala's and Brad's like together because I feel like they hit different points in the stuff. Because he uses the original stuff, she uses the double standards. These are the people that I follow, and stuff. And I do have a link I have where it has all this like EFT links and books and whatever. I could not find my thing, but I can give it to you. And I could probably tag it in this video. But it's really about finding what's best for you. It's finding about which, like for you, you like to use both. You wanted to do both on all of them. You wanted to use your whole hands. That's what's comfortable to you. Some people just want to use one hand. Some people just, want to slap themselves. I don't know. It's really about what you feel the most comfortable doing at the end of the day. And if you need help, let me know. But I would like to take some questions if anybody has any questions about me or what I do or about the EFT that I haven't said, because sometimes my brain just kind of you don't have to have questions.
So is there a usual number of sets to do?
Now usually I like to do, depending on what it is. Now let's say you want to do something really quick. So on my TikTok and my Instagrams, whatever, I have this one what I just did. I did a grateful tapping. Now, if you're tapping in something positive, you don't have to use the side of the hand. You just start right on the top of the head and you just go through. So that would be like, I love myself. I'm grateful for my family. Everything is perfect. You don't have to do a setup because you're obviously just tapping in something good. That's a good question. So you can do one round if you want. You see something quick. I usually like to do 3 to 4 rounds, depending on what I'm doing. But what I do usually, like if you were to have a client, there's this thing called tapping scripts. So I don't do tapping scripts. Everything I do is done basically, spontaneously. I feel like that's where it comes from me. Now, tapping scripts are cool because you can write down what you want to say, and then you can do it in the amount of time that you want. And so I really depends, like with you and your clients, that might be something you would want to do so that you could read it off and then give it to them. Or you could do it intuitively where you say, what are you doing? And usually I go through, and let's say I get to about like right here, and if I feel like I'm done, I will finish it out. But if I get to about right here and I know that I'm not done, I'll go through another round. Now, if you get to a point where you're like, okay, I'm done, but you're up here, you can always go like this, say that, and then you can end it like this. So if you feel like you don't have to go through the rest of the points to get there, you don't have to. While making tapping scripts, you can make it so it's the amount of time of lines. So I've noticed in the other people that do the stuff, they do tapping scripts is a real big thing to do, which is cool for some people because then they can read it. Sometimes I've noticed I've done it where I've done a journal entry. Let's say those things called morning pages, whatever. Let's say you do a journal entry and you're writing something. You can read your journal entry while tapping. So let's say you write something in there that's a real big deal. You're like, I want to tap that out. Instead of trying to remember what you wrote, read what you wrote down in your journal, tap on the points for that. Yeah, so there's really no set time. I know, for me, in the regular, like the tapping solution and stuff like that, I think they go around maybe twice. I don't watch their stuff as much because it's a little bit more clinical, I think, is a way of it, which works for some people, the clinical stuff like that. But I think they might go around, because sometimes they'll do it where you repeat the same thing. There's people where it's like, even though I have back pain, even though I have this horrendous back pain, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. You do 1 or 2 rounds. So if you're doing something super, super specific like that, you can do it 1 time, 2 times. But the way that I teach it about going by your intuition. Your intuition is a very, very good indicator of what you're doing, especially since you're doing healing work. So I really encourage that. But if you have like a client who isn't as in tune to that and they like it to be kind of thought out, write it down. And then write, like, because there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I think 8, like, so you would write 8 times so it can end, at the thing. So you really, I think as a therapist, when you have a client, you kind of read what they want. Like, you're like, oh, I talked to this one a little bit like this one like listens a little bit more like that. And I think as a therapist, you have a little bit more of a wide range. So for you, if you wanted to look it up, you could look up the couple of different ways to do it. You could do it, you have a person who likes to talk a lot. Maybe doing the intuition one would be good for them. There's a person who's kind of quiet and doesn't say a lot of stuff, but is super specific. Maybe write those down and do a tapping script of them of what's specific. Yeah, so it's really, the most important part is that you're tapping on the points, the ones that you can hit, and you're saying some form of, I deeply and completely love and accept, forgive myself, I choose to love and accept myself anyway. Now that one's a good one too. The forgive in any way, I think I use sometimes interchangeable. So I'll be like, I deeply and completely love and accept for myself. Go through it again and be like, I deeply and completely love myself anyway. Because by saying you forgive yourself, you're forgiving yourself for being human. And anyway means, even though I feel all these things, whether they're mine or not, I love myself anyway. And it can't get to me. And it can't change me. And it can't make me feel a certain way. If that makes sense. Okay. Okay. Any other questions?
How does third eye tapping relate to the tapping you do?
I'm actually not too sure. She knows a little bit more about that, but I think that's also a meridian point, and I feel like if there's something that you're tapping on that involves the third eye, I feel like you can add that into it.
Yeah, you can definitely do
Yep.
third eye activation.
Yeah, third eye activation through tapping, because that's basically what you're doing. And I
The
feel,
crown.
yeah,
Between the crown, the third eye,
You can-
basically almost the throat, and then the heart chakra.
yeah. So it's like, it's like, I mean, there's ways and methods of tapping out there, but
One thing with Chinese medicine and the meridians is that even though you're tapping on one aspect of the meridian, you're still activating the whole meridian throughout your whole body.
yes,
And
exactly.
especially the biggest detox is what comes from your lymphatic system, and that's the meridians activating what you're also detoxing. That's why water and hydration is so
Yeah, that's why it's because you're moving it, and it's I really think you want to add the third eye to there, you want to add the throat in there, you want to add like hitting your solar plexus. I follow these breath work people, and they do the breath work, and she does some tapping, and when she does it, she's like this.
Oh yeah, I beat my chest all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah. So
Regulation.
so I mean that right there is tapping also, and I feel like it could be involved in regular stuff, or even at a place where you're teaching holistic everything. Some people call it woo woo, but I mean, if you look at the science, and there's so much of it now, there's so much science now, it's so awesome. But the coolest thing about the PTSD, these veterans, like, they think that they're going to be for the rest of their lives, and then all of a sudden it's gone by 63% in the first thing, and they're like, what's this? What? You know what I mean? It's a thing that gives hope to people, and I have to teach it. I have to help people with it. I have to say it, even if I don't know all the science, and I don't know which meridian does what, or whatever. Me doing this and me telling people, we got the internet. We got the internet nowadays. Yeah. Did you have something?
When you're using both hands, does it matter whether it's tapping simultaneously or alternating?
No, I don't think so. There's times where I'm doing it and I'm like this, and then there's times I'm like this. And I've noticed that it changes as I go. I think it's how I say something.
No, it's not.
Hi,
It's
no,
just
you're
there.
good. Come on in.
Second, I hope I don't
Here,
catch it.
water. Oh God,
No.
I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. There you go. There you go. Yeah, so I think it just kind of goes with when you're tapping. I think it's really just about tapping the points. Yeah,
That's
because
how I usually am. Just
yeah, because sometimes how you say that, I'll notice that sometimes I'm like this, and then sometimes I'm like this, or sometimes I'm like this. Usually when I'm here is, but sometimes I'm like this. You're slowly, doing whatever you want to do, and I think it doesn't really matter. I think it's just whatever. Because I think what happens sometimes is that even if you mean to do it like this each time, sometimes your body's like, nope, we're gonna alternate hands.
The body knows what it needs.
Yeah, your body knows what it needs, so you're gonna alternate. Welcome. There's a replay you may watch, so you do not miss. Why did you come today?
Because I just wanted to deal with things in a healthy way, differently, it looked like a different technique that I've never heard about before.
Yeah, it's really it's like what I've been telling everybody today. It's like the easiest thing and the best thing is you don't have to believe a word you're saying. Your subconscious hears what it's doing on, and that's where the healing goes, and that's where it does. We were talking also about the fact that therapy is amazing because you get to go and find out what's going on, but what do you do when you find out what's going on? What do you do with it? Tapping is what gets it out of your body, and so that you can move on to whatever other trauma you have and clear that out of your body, and then clear more out of your body. Any other questions? No? Yeah. Was it easy though to understand
Yeah.
from me? Okay. Yeah, so I can definitely talk to you. That's fine. Yeah. Yeah.
I think the last question, is there like a recommendation of how often to do it?
You can do it 5 times a day. You can do it once every 3 days. There really isn't. There's always a thing of take rest breaks. If you're starting to feel, you might feel cranky
Or lightheaded. I've gotten
or
lightheaded.
lightheaded. I just did a class on at the Open Eye on Sunday, and this older lady was in there, and she was like, I felt like my body went somewhere else.
Ooh.
And I was like, ooh, that's cool. And then the other girl that came in there, she walked in, and I could tell she was not okay at that time. And that's when I told her how to do this one, and she just sat there and did that until she, do that. And I think since it's energy work, your body will let you know, kind of. Like if you're starting to get really cranky, take a little bit of break, and because you might get cranky. Take a nap if you can.
Some deep breaths.
And some deep breaths. Yeah, so, because you are moving stuff. Sometimes things are more than they are, So, I do it. So, there's some days where I tap 3 or 4 times, and then there's some days where I only tap in the morning. Some days, all I do is just tap in positive things. And then I'll have different days where I'm like, okay, today I'm going to work on a specific thing, and I make the thing. If you want to make it more powerful, do it in the mirror. I do 90% of my tapping in the mirror. It is so uncomfortable. Oh my God, it is so uncomfortable. But you have to look at yourself. And if there's something that you're tapping on and it's not really, because sometimes it will come out and sometimes it'll take several sessions. And the thing is, you might not feel like it's getting better, but if you really sit and think, you'll see, oh, I didn't react to that situation this time. And eventually it all adds up. So if there's something that's really, and in the mirror, you might cry. You might cry. I'm a crier. I cry all the time. But you might cry. You might look away. You will probably look away a lot. I look away a lot. I have to tell myself, look back into the mirror. In stuff. So that's really powerful. But, just listen to your body and listen to your stuff. And if you're going to do tapping as, for your clients, just remember to drink a lot of water and remind yourself that these things have been due. But the coolest thing about teaching people tapping is when you're doing that, sometimes I've had stuff where I've had to tap for other people and it's cleared stuff out of me because I didn't know it was in there, but I had something similar to who I was working with. So that's the cool thing about teaching it to other people and to helping people with it, because you're clearing your own trauma at the same time, you know.
You're teaching, you're doing it.
Yeah, because you have to touch the points to show them. You have to be the teacher. And so, I'm so excited there's a therapist in here learning this, because like that was like, I was talking to somebody about it where it was like the therapists are starting to put that as a practice into their thing. And it's just magical, because you are the ones who are helping these people they're going to you because they're sick of their shit and they want to figure out what the hell and fix it. And so they talk to you, figure that out, and if you have a tool to be like, all right, we figured it out, let's get that out so we can go to the next thing. And that's the most beautiful thing right there, you know, with tapping, like, and it's literally so easy. And you can skip points. There's times over the last couple months where I've been dealing with some stuff where I'm in the middle of like Winco and something comes up and I'm literally like this and I'll just tap right here. I remember one person saying that you could do tapping in your mind, like visually. She imagines two little frogs jumping on her. I was like, oh, okay. But that works for her. You know what I mean? Like, some people are very shy and they don't want to talk out. Talking out loud is your best bet though, because, you know, that's what gets it. But if there's times where you're in, let's say you're like in a situation or whatever, you don't even have to talk. You can just be like this in your mind and say what you're saying. That was one thing I was telling everybody, is that let's say you're in the middle of anxiety or something like that, this is the fastest, easiest way to go here and just be like, I'm okay. Yep, right here, like, yeah, just be like, I'm okay, I am safe, I am not my anxiety, I am not these people, you know, whatever. That is the fastest way to get, so you don't have to sit there and like do a whole round, you know, it's in, you know, and you know that, and then this one, how you were talking about bidding on your chest. Gal said this one time where we were doing a tapping and she got here and she's like, okay, we're just gonna do it right here. And we were just doing this. And that's what the monkeys or apes do to really like power is like they, you know, and so, yeah. And so it powers you up with that. I always, you know, deep breathing while you do this is really good. If anybody's into breath work here, tapping while you do breath work is phenomenal. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, there's so many different things for it, and there's really no right way to do it. That's how I feel. I mean, there are the classes out there, there's the clinicals, there's the ways that they say it, but my thing is, as long as you are tapping on the points and saying one of the 3 or 4 or whatever, like some people will be like, I love to love myself anyway. Like, that would work too. Whatever is good for you, that will work. So, you know, I do know there's some people out there who put the rules and the stuff on it, but honestly, when it comes to energy work, it's about you and your body or your client or what works for you at the end of the day. I'll help you. I'll explain all this. Any other questions from anyone about anything? Go. Girl, we are here to hear it, because when you say it, people can hear it, and I get to answer it.
Because I noticed a lot of them are I statements. Is that the...
Oh, this is something we just shared on the Instagram the other day.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so there's different things for different chakras. So there's the I statements, I am. Now, I only did a little one, but there's things like, I feel like I'm never going to get better. I feel like I can't do anything. It's another one. Instead of I am, you know. And then what was the other ones? I feel,
I
understand.
I see, you know, I see these things in front of me. I see all this stuff, but I just can't seem to get there. But even though I see it, and I know that it's not true, I deeply and completely love and accept and forgive myself. So you can literally say whatever you want. Whatever you want.
Okay, so what about you statements? What if someone wants to curse someone out and tap?
Let's see here about that. Yeah. So like, give me an example. like real quick.
Oh, I mean, what came to mind is that meditation that they say horse shit, like fuck off that horse shit.
Yeah.
A meditation that goes like that. So then if someone is angry or they want to process their anger, what if they don't want to use icing? What if they want to direct it to their
Oh, to the
Point
person.
of
Like you didn't have the right to do that to me or something like
Yes.
or
You didn't have the right to do that to me. Yes.
Like
So
that.
like F U in the B type thing. Yes. Now that will work.
Ah,
Yes. Because you can say it. You know, you did not. You know what? Thinking about that, I did that.
okay.
I did that with my mother.
Ah,
I was like, you did not have the right to do that to me. And then, but what the most important part is to come back to be like, even though this happened to me, I deeply and completely love and accept myself,
okay.
because that's how it will work. Because there, you know, there's the forgiving things like that. You've got to get it out. You've got to get that all out. But the important part is to still love and accept yourself anyway, no matter what somebody else has done to you. So yes, that will work into, yes, while tapping, you know, because I think when you're saying like, you didn't do that, it's just saying you didn't have the right to do that to me is the same thing as saying, I did not deserve that you gave that to me. So it's around the same, thing. So that would, I feel like that would work well in that. It's just important to bring it back around to, you know, that we're not victims. Not victims, you know, that we are victims of these things, but we are not. That's not who we are. You know what I mean? Like, we were victims of trauma. We were victims of these things. But the important part is to release that and love yourself anyways and let that go. Yeah. These are some great questions. Oh my God. I'm feeling it right there. Like, yeah, okay. You have anything else? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
For now.
For now. Okay. That's fair. That's
I know
fair.
where you live on the internet now.
Yeah, right? So I will find you. Yeah. So yeah, and then I do individual stuff. Right now I take clients where you have a 45-minute session with me, and we basically talk about whatever you want to work on, and I do the intuitive tapping like I did, and then after that you can ask me questions or whatever. I record it so that you can have it at any time, and then I also make videos where you tell me specifically, I make it, and then the video, you get to keep the video and follow me that way. Sometimes that's easier for people if they have something specific that they want to do over and over and over again. But the thing about doing the in-person thing is that when you tap with somebody else, it amps it up. So it's, you know, you have my energy and my light and my awesomeness just right into you through that. So, and it can be more, you can tell me more, and I can be a little bit more, you know, in tune to how you're feeling and what you're doing and what's going on with you at that time, opposed to a video. So the videos are good if somebody wants to do multiple times and has a specific way of, you know, I can even read what they wanted. I'll read what they wrote, and they can have that. The in-person is more of like a session. And we just work on whatever you want, or if you want me to help you teach some stuff, you know, stuff like that, I can do that. Any of those things. Yeah.
So are your rates online?
Yeah, it is $40 for 45 minutes, and then the videos are $20. So that's what I have right now, and I'm able to meet with clients here if they want to. I'm also able to come to your home, or if you want to meet at a park, preferably in 4 months, because it is hotter. So hot right now. But I'm very flexible of where I would go. So whatever makes you more comfortable. I'm very non-clinical with this. I want it to be where you feel like we're just hanging out, doing some tapping. So you don't feel all you're doing is repeating after me like you're talking to me, like we're friends, like we're chilling. We're not friends. You know, like that's the most important thing that I want to do with my practice and my stuff, which probably makes me a little bit different than a lot of people, what they're offering and what their stuff like that. So for now I have that. I'm I'm going to start working on doing a course that people can take. And so that will be something too where it will be being taught by me and my personality and my humor, and I love to cuss and stuff, and I won't cuss if you don't want me to, you know what I mean? But we can cuss it up. So it's just, yeah. So it's just really, it really changed my life, and you know, I just want to help everyone that I meet with this tiny but very powerful thing that you can do to just remove. And me and Trippy are going to start doing some stuff together where I'm going to work on some stuff with him, and you know, he knows what's up. He knows, but he's like, what do I do with it? It's still freaking here. I'm like, well, I got you with that. Clear that the right out, you know, and then he can start doing what he wants to do. Because some of this stuff is trauma from we were 5 years old, and we're carrying it with us into our 40s, 50s, 70s. You know what I mean? Like we're and that's what I feel like the world used to be doomed to be in therapy and talk about it for forever. And I'm a firm believer in like law of attraction and stuff like that, where I mean the bare bones of what you talk about. The universe doesn't hear when you say, oh, my day, this day is horrible, or when it hears you talking about it. It doesn't know that you're talking about something from when you were 5. It just hears it just doesn't, you know. So when you go to therapy and you talk about the same thing over and over and over and over again, the universe is hearing that over and over again. Just like when you say, oh my God, I hate being broke. The universe hears broke.
You're gonna be broke.
Yeah, and you're gonna be broke, instead of being like, I effing love money. I love it. I'm gonna believe it, but like, I love money. Money, this is abundance. It's rad. You know what I mean? Oh, there's abundance. Oh, here's the abundance for you. You know what I mean? Like, so I feel like with the tapping, when we really start to get to the tapping and get into, you know, what you talk about, you're saying these things out loud and you're clearing them, and then you might not say them again, and then the universe doesn't even have them as part of your present life. So I think, yeah. So it's about how you talk to yourself. It's about what you say to yourself, you know. And that's why I think the statement, I deeply, completely love and accept and forgive myself, is so cringy. It's just like, what? But who am I to be worthy of loving myself? Like, and I'm not supposed to love myself. That's weird. You know, some people are more woke than others or whatever, but I mean, at the bare bones, we all are taught to hate ourselves. We're taught to be envious and jealous of other people and all this stuff, and, you know, all this programming that we have, and this can just dismantle all of it. You know, I do other things, you know, with it, but like at the bare bones, this is what happened, and this is what will open up for you to find the things that will help you. You know. Any other questions?
Not really a question, much as a comment.
Okay.
I see how it all really ties into manifestation too, because the universe here listens to what you want, but when you're putting in buts or ifs and stuff, it only gives you partial
Yeah.
of what you're asking for.
Yeah. So when you're tapping, you're being pretty specific, and you can be very general too to start out with. But once you start getting into it, you start getting specific, and you start doing those things, and it starts specifically. And there's like, I know there's everybody, if they really thought about it, there's a thing that they say often that they wish that they would not say. Like, oh, I wish I had more money, or I wish I had this, you know, things, when they could be like, I'm abundant and that's how it is. You know what I mean? We have these small things. So when you get into tapping and you start really, you know, getting through it, you'll figure out these things that you say, and you'd be like, I don't want to feel that way anymore. Let's tap it out. I don't want to feel like this. I don't want to say these things. I can tap that out. I can tap on a point, you know, and eventually it just moves it from your body and moves it from your reality and moves it, you know, like I thought I was going to be in a hospital like forever. And I thought I wasn't going to be able to do anything, and now I'm living, you know, it's a completely different reality. I'm very confused. I'll tell you that. I am confused. But in a good way. I'm goodly confused about what's going on. So, you know, it's just it's a road, and it's a start. And, you know, even just start tapping here every once in a while, only tapping here, only tapping when you're frustrated. You know, eventually you will start to do it. But I think everybody in this room wants to feel a little bit better than they do. They want to stop waking up every day being frustrated by these things that have nothing to do with them really, or whatever, and they're just holding on to them, and this is the tool to take it out. So I believe that's good.